Hey, do you like horror? I remember we talked about it a little bit when you first joined the club. I can enjoy horror novels, but not really horror movies. The problem I have with horror movies is that most of them just rely on easy tactics. Jump scares, yeah. Like dark lighting and scary looking monsters and jump scares and things like that. It's not fun or inspiring to get scared by stuff that just takes advantage of human instinct. With novels, it's a little different. The story and writing need to be descriptive enough to put genuinely disturbing thoughts into the reader's head. It really needs to etch them deeply into the story and characters and just mess with your mind. In my opinion, there's nothing more creepy than things just being slightly off. Like if you set up a bunch of expectations on what the story is going to be about. And then you just start inverting things and pulling the pieces apart. So even though the story doesn't feel like it's trying to be scary, the reader feels really deeply unsettled. Like they know that something horribly wrong is hiding beneath the cracks just waiting to surface. God, just thinking about it gives me the chills. That's the kind of horror I can really appreciate. But I guess you're the kind of person who plays cute romance games, right? Not really. Don't worry. I won't make you read any horror stories anytime soon. I like Woman in Black. I can't really complain if we just stick with the romance. You did something really funny once. We were all in the club room and just relaxing as usual, and out of nowhere Yuri just pulled out a small bottle of wine. I'm not even kidding. She was just like, would anybody like some wine? Natsuki laughed out loud and so Yuri started yelling at her. I actually felt kind of bad because she was at least trying to be nice. I think it just made her feel even more reserved in the club room, though I think Natsuki was secretly a bit curious to try it. And to be completely honest, I kind of was too. It actually could have been kind of fun. But you know, being present and everything, there was no way I could let that happen. Maybe if we all met up outside of school, but we never bonded enough to get to that point. Gosh, what am I talking about this for? I don't condone underage drinking. I mean, I've never drank or anything, so, yeah. I think the most important skill in life is being able to fake confidence. Yep. I'm pretty convinced that everyone feels at least a little bit scared and alone, but being able to trick others into thinking you have it all together, that's a key part of getting people to respect and admire you. I think I got pretty good at that over the years. I don't show my weaknesses very often, but because of that, I haven't had many people I could really open up to. I mean, when do you reach the point in a friendship where you can start expressing your vulnerabilities? Anyway, that's one reason I'm so glad I have you now. I feel like I'm a little bit less scared and alone when you're here with me. Do you feel the same way? I really want to be that person for you. You ever have that thing happen where you just get anxious for no reason? Yeah, I've got two anxiety disorders, so. Like you're just minding your own business and you realise you're feeling really anxious. And you're sitting there like, what am I even anxious about right now? So you just start to think about all the things you might be anxious about, and that makes you even more anxious. That's the worst. If you're ever feeling anxious, I'll help you relax a little. Besides, in this game, all our worries are gone forever. Sometimes I think back to middle school. I'm so embarrassed by the way I used to behave back then. It almost hurts to think about. I wonder if when I'm in college I'll feel that way about high school. Probably. I like the way I am now, so it's pretty hard for me to imagine that happening. But I also know that I'll probably change a lot as time goes on. We just need to enjoy the present and not think about the past. And that's really easy to do with you here. Yeah, how are you going to go to college when everything else is gone? Ash, have you ever wondered what it feels like to die? Yeah, hasn't everyone? It's something I used to think about pretty often. But recently I think I've actually learned what it feels like. I don't really understand it, but whenever you quit the game, it feels like I'm instantly put to sleep, left with nothing but my thoughts. But after a few seconds, my thoughts start to fill with incoherent, jumbled patterns. I see static and rapid flashes of colour while hearing all kinds of weird screaming noises. Which is the poem that you wrote about all the bright colours and stuff. Makes sense. The colours, they won't stop. Bright, beautiful colours, flashing, expanding, piercing, red, green, blue, an endless cacophony of meaningless noise. The noise, it won't stop. violent, grating waveforms, speaking, screeching, piercing, sine, cosine, tangent, like playing a chalkboard on a turntable, like playing a vinyl on a pizza crust, an endless poem of meaningless. Save me. The colours, they won't. Bright, beautiful colours. Flashing, expanding, piercing. Red, green, blue. An endless cacophony of meaningless noise. The noise, it won't stop. Violent, grating waveforms. Oh, squeaking, screeching, piercing, sine, cosine, tangent, like playing a chalkboard on a turntable, like playing a knife on a breathing rib cage. Endless poem of meaningless and endless. Delete her. At that point, I can't even form my own thoughts anymore. I'm just endlessly hammered by the flashing and screaming, unable to move or even think. I'm pretty sure in that moment I don't really exist, but for some reason I can remember it anyway. After some immeasurable amount of time, it stops in an instant and I'm back in my own mind. And you're here with me. I have no idea what it means for the game to quit or why that stuff happens to me. And I also don't know how you always come back and put everything back to normal. But if you could do me a favour and do that to me as little as possible, that would be really great. It's really not very pleasant at all to be trapped in that screaming void. But in the end, you always fix it, and that makes me feel like you really do care about me. So I have to thank you for that. It makes me feel even closer to you when you're here with me. By the way, there's something that's been bothering me. You know how this takes place in Japan? Well, I assume you knew that, right? It appeared to be, yeah. Or at least decided it probably does. I don't think you're actually told at any point where this takes place. Is this even really Japan? I mean, aren't the classrooms and stuff kind of weird for a Japanese school? I don't know. Not to mention everything is in English. It feels like everything is just there because it needs to be, and the actual setting is an afterthought. It's kind of giving me an identity crisis. All my memories are really hazy. I feel like I'm at home, but have no idea where home is in the first place. I don't know how to describe it any better. Imagine looking out your window, but instead of your usual yard, you're in some completely unknown place, like space. Would you still feel like you were home? Probably not. Would you want to go outside? Never. I mean, I guess if we never leave this room, it really doesn't matter anyway. As long as we're alone and safe together, this really is our home. And we can still watch the pretty sunsets night after night. Can we, though? There is no sun that can set. Look outside the window, Monika.